It's 100,000, Jess. I just.
There you go. Did it.
I got it! We got it! Oh my god! 100,000! Oh my god, you've done it, mate! And it's still going! Still going! Oh, it's amazing! Thank you so much! Oh my god!
Thank you!
Yay! Well done, Captain Kori!
Yay!
Thank you so much! How do you feel?
So excited! There's confetti everywhere!
Oh my god!
Is there something in my hat? I don't know. There's confetti in my hat!
Oh my god. I can't believe it.
Still
Done
going.
it. It's still going up. Thank you so much. We did it. Thank you so much. Oh, honestly, thank you. Oh.
Thank you! Subscribe!
You hear someone in the back whisper, subscribe. Well, yeah, that's sweat. That's sweat from the inside of my eyes. Good morning, everybody. That is enough. It's enough to make you happy and sad at the same time. Happy because of the sheer joy of a random, arbitrary, ultimately, in this grand scheme of the cosmos, what is it? But for that kid at that time, and not just for that kid, but for adults, for people, accomplishments mean certain things to them. And I can imagine what Kori was going through at that moment. And you know what's going to happen. You've been waiting for it for so long, or, it happened relatively quickly, but it's been a dream and it happens. And then you can feel the excitement in real time. There's a sadness to the underlying elements of the story, but, you don't pick your lot in life, and you make the best with what you have if you have that fortitude. Kori does. So for those of you who don't know, Kori has a channel called Crack in the Box. I only heard of it a few days ago because it was, I guess, loosely tied to Captain Jack Sparrow from the Kraken, from that Pirates of the Caribbean. Kid wanted to get to 100,000 subs. It was his dream. He was at like 1,000 subs 5 or 6 days ago. Don't know how Johnny Depp gets involved in all of this, but Johnny Depp discovers the kid's channel, sends him a custom in-character role play. And I mean, that in and of itself is enough. That's enough to also make you love Johnny Depp. We live in a world now where if you say, I love Johnny Depp, or what a good thing to do, or what a hero for doing that, I don't know, Bot Sentinel might come and flag your YouTube channel or your Twitter handle as being, what is the word that they use? Bad, naughty, whatever. You say you love Johnny Depp, you might get a bunch of people mass flagging your Twitter feed, YouTube channel, whatever. Some cynics out there will say Johnny Depp is doing it for his own self-interested reasons to, public image, whatever. We can always argue over people's intentions. Bottom line, Johnny Depp is an amazing person for doing some of the stuff that he does, which a lot of people were largely unaware of until the trial of his defamation case against Amber Heard, where we find out that he goes to hospitals in character, dressed up to entertain children, sick kids who have very little time left on this planet. Oh, 21 Jump Street. Johnny Depp was in that as well. So Johnny Depp sends this kid an in-character role-playing video, and it's fantastic. The kid, then the momentum starts. Then the social media community gets involved and says, get this kid to 100,000 subs. Everybody's tweeting around. The kid wants to get to 100,000 subs on his channel, Crack in the Box, so he can get the silver play button, because it would mean the world to him. It happens. That was the moment it happened. And as soon as it happened, his channel was taken down yesterday. Now I want to pull up, I want to pull up Rekida's tweet. I hope I brought it up. I like Rekida because he doesn't mince his words. Now that it's good and bad. I don't think I have it, but I thought I brought it up because I wanted to swear today. I'm gonna get it because it's worth reading, and I want to swear. I want to gratuitously swear for no better reason. But it's not me swearing. I'm just faithfully and loyally quoting Nick Rekida, who brought my attention to the fact that little Kori's channel had been taken down. Just scroll down through my Diary of the World's Descent into Madness. I know that it was before I set up the stream. The Diary of the Descent into Madness. Here we go. Here we go. It's coming up here. Here we go. Rakeda brought my attention to the fact that the kids' channel had been taken down for reasons that, as of now, I don't think we know. And I looked through Team YouTube's Twitter feed, and there's a happy ending to the story. And I'm quoting, "Hey, Team YouTube, there's some fucked up shit. I can't do it. There's some effed up shit that, and then there's really effed up shit canceling the account of a terminal kid whose dream was 100,000 subscribers right as he gets there is literal demonic moves. F you guys, holy ass, fix this." Now, it's not because I'm Canadian. I take the I will impute ill intent when I have evidence of ill intent, because Nick's right. There's evil, and then there's demonic level evil, and I don't even think YouTube is demonic level evil enough that they would cancel the channel of a kid who, by all accounts, this is his story, and one cannot independently verify, but demonic would also be lying about this story. The kid is in palliative care after having a second heart transplant. I don't even think YouTube is demonic enough to shut down a kid's channel after he reaches 100,000K. And I say there's got to be something of a logical explanation to it. Like, you know, I can understand if YouTube sees a channel pick up 100,000 subs, 150, 180 in a day or two, they might think it's a spamming account. They might think something fishy is going on. How they take down the channel before looking into anything is bizarre. By taking down the channel before looking into anything, it then lends credence to some people's conspiracy theories that maybe the kid and his family were lying about what was going on. And then you have a 12-hour window where people are saying, holy crap, did we all just get duped by a sob story that might have been dishonest or inaccurate? That's what happens when YouTube does something like this. Algorithmically, automatically taking down a channel, it causes people who didn't have questions in the first place to maybe have questions. So I reach out, give them the benefit of the doubt, and, you know, the way you get YouTube's attention, ironically enough, is by tagging them on Twitter. Let that sink in. Rackets gets it done, says Roxday Murray. Well, he does. I don't think we can disagree with that. So what was I about to say? So YouTube takes the channel down. Now, I don't know why. I figure it's, you know, there's an explanation. Anomalies. They see this channel, massive steam. They think there's an issue. Some people had raised the theory, the idea that maybe the channel got mass flagged by Amber Heard stans, I believe they're called, or Amber Heard fans. That would be also next level demonic stuff. But then again, Amber Heard fans are the next level demonic stuff who call Child Protective Services on the umbrella guy. So I wouldn't put that past the levels of evil on the internet where they think it's not such a big deal. We're just going to mass flag and, you know, it's anonymous and it's a victimless crime. Possible. Hadn't thought of that. Yesterday, there was a channel talking about it, saying, to the best of their knowledge, it was not a mass flagging. YouTube's looking into it, whatever. Bottom line, everybody, little Kori got his channel back today, undoubtedly because of the mass awareness campaign that was waged on Twitter to tag team YouTube to fix this ASAP. And maybe while they're at it, expedite the kids' silver play button, and maybe get one of the old school good, like I won't say good, but the old school heavy play buttons. So Kori, cracking the box. The journey is still going, and if you haven't checked it out, check it out. I mean, what it is, it's a channel of pure elation, pure joy for a kid that has reached a dream that brings him immeasurable joy. And I'm drinking sparkling water with tea in it. And it has apparently 2 ounces of caffeine per can, so not that bad. That's not the sponsor, however. Maybe one day it will be. Spindrift, it's not bad. But let me make sure that I tag the button so that I don't get into problems, because I don't want to get into Kevin O'Leary problems, which we're going to talk about today. I ticked the button. You may have noticed it says this stream contains a paid promotion because it does, because I have entered the next chapter of my YouTube, Rumble, social media career. Not where I'm an influencer, but where I actually can get sponsors and have gotten a sponsor of a product that I actually currently use personally. I researched it before using it, and I continue to research it during to make sure that it's legit. And it's legit. It's for American homeowners, American property owners. It doesn't work in Canada. So Canada, you can, I don't know, pick your nose or twiddle your thumbs for the next minute or so. Moving down to Florida, which I've done for a few years at least, and we'll see what happens. I have been sensitized to the fact that there's a type of fraud in the United States, which is very prevalent, very common, and very easy, which is called home title fraud. And it's not where someone comes and changes ownership of your house and then moves in and says, get out, take me to court if you don't think I own your house. People pull up your deed of sale from the local clerk, sheriff's office, whatever it's called, and forge your signature to borrow money against the equity, any equity you might have in your house. And you don't find out about it until the creditors come and say, time to pay up on the loan that you signed off and used your house as collateral for, and you say, no, I didn't. And they say, yes, you did, because someone forged your signature. Well, that's where home title lock comes into play. Basically 24/7 surveillance of your deed. If anyone pulls it for whatever the reason, it gets frozen so nobody can borrow against your property. You get notified so you can remedy the situation, see what's going on. $19.95 a month, $20 a month to protect what is arguably any individual family's biggest asset, their home. It's a no-brainer for me. I asked my insurance company here if it's legit threat and if it's legit protection, and they confirmed it was, and it was a no-brainer for me. And if you go and use promo code Viva, V-I-V-A, that is my not real first name, you'll get a free title assessment, which I think is worth like $100, and $19.95 a month, 24/7 digital surveillance. If anybody goes and pulls up your deed, you'll get notified. It'll get frozen. Nobody can borrow against it, and it will save you a world of headache. Hasn't happened to me yet. I keep checking, and thus far, no news is good news. HometitleLock.com/Viva for property owners in America. All right. With that said, everybody, good news, Kori. I was going to start with the bad news, and I didn't, or not bad news. I was going to start with something that might make you gag. I figure we'll start with the good news today, and then we're going to get into the rest of it. I wanted to pull up a video of absolute fear-mongering, absolute divisive politics, absolute disinformation. I swear to you people, no one's going to believe me anymore, because I've come to the conclusion that what is typically referred to as liberalism, growing up, we've always heard liberalism is a mental disorder. If liberalism is defined by what we see on social media, it's a mental disorder. And its primary characteristic is hypocrisy with lack of insight. The people, we're going to get into it with Elon Musk, the people with, hold on a second. The people who accuse others of disinformation spread disinformation. The people who accuse others of divisive politics engage in politics like this. This is Joe Biden, and we're going to get into so much more of it. We've got Elon Musk banning an account for what Elon says is doxing by real-time identification of location of an individual. We're going to get into the social media backlash against Elon Musk. They love green energy, but they want to boycott Tesla. They love open borders, but they want to deport Elon Musk. They've been chanting prosecute Trump for the last 6 years. But when someone says prosecute Fauci, it's inciting violence. Listen to what Joe Biden has to say about America.
Justice Thomas went even further, and he wrote the following quote: "We should reconsider all the court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, Obergefell." That means he thinks we should reconsider whether you got the right access to contraception. And yes, we should reconsider whether you have the right to marry who you love. And that's not only the challenge ahead. When a person can be married in the morning and thrown out of a restaurant for being gay in the afternoon, this is still wrong. Just
Can we appreciate what we just heard? Just want to make sure that we were looking at the make sure we're looking at the same thing here. We are. Let's listen to that one more time.
Justice Thomas went even further, and he wrote the following quote: "We should reconsider all the court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, Obergefell." That means he.
Okay. First of all, at least he didn't say end of quote. New line. Repeat. Sorry. End of quote. Repeat. He quotes him and then proceeds to say what he thinks Justice Clarence Thomas means. Listen, a quote.
That means he thinks we should reconsider whether you've got the right access to contraception. And
is it me or just I won't say it. He looks terrible, and he looks like he's trying to look like a movie villain. Like the optics are bad. I do not like wearing sunglasses outside. As a rule, I understand people do it because it's sunny. The eyes are the window to the soul. And when you block them, I understand people do it. I don't even like wearing sunglasses outside, even when it's sunny. But the president of the United States, when addressing the people, should not be wearing sunglasses. But he's got to give off his badass Putin fighting Time magazine cover bomber glasses, because that's, Biden's a badass. Biden is handing it to Putin. And by handing it to Putin, handing the merchant of death to Putin in exchange for a petty criminal.
yes, we should reconsider whether you have the right to marry who you love. And that's not only the challenge ahead.
Oh, God. Tell it.
When a person can
Tell
be
it.
married in the morning and thrown out of a restaurant for being gay in the afternoon, this is still wrong.
I will invite any fact checker to correct me. Nowhere in America can anyone lawfully kick out someone from a restaurant for being gay. It's not America. It's not Canada. It's a bald-faced lie. It is hate-filled, divisive lies. When you can get married in the morning and kicked out of a restaurant for being gay in the afternoon, lie, liar, liar. Cue the Princess Bride, liar, liar. It's a lie of the highest order, of the most divisive order, disinformation coming from the mouth of the president. No one can get kicked out of a restaurant for being gay. No one should get kicked out of a restaurant for being gay. It is a lie. The debate on marriage is a separate debate as to whether or not the union between a gay couple or a lesbian couple should be referred to as marriage, which some people hold as being the union between a man and a woman, as per the Bible. That's a debate you can have. I happen to think, call it marriage. And they should have recognized under the law all of the rights and privileges of a married couple. You don't want to call it marriage? Call it civil union like we do in Quebec. That's fine. Some people won't say that's fine because they want the word marriage. I understand both sides of that debate. There are very few people out there who are saying same-sex couples should be denied the same legal rights, privileges, and benefits as a married couple. There are some who say it, think they're outright wrong. But hold on. Let's hear this. Charlie, hold on. Let me expand my screen. Viva, you 100% can kick someone out for being gay. No one would, but you absolutely can unless your state specifically prohibits it. Charlie Waters, I'm going to say that is wrong. I'm going to say that is wrong. And if it were to happen, we would have heard about it. If there were even some examples where it's illegal, we would have heard about it. And any place where purportedly it would be legal, we would hear about it. So just lies, divisive lies, demonizing lies, so they can then say the 48.6% of Arizona who voted for Kari Lake are MAGA Republicans who have no respect for democracy. Okay, now hold on. I didn't check to make sure we are live on the Rumbles. Whew, thank goodness. And there's Rumble Rants. Chet Chisholm. $2 Rumble Rant says, if you haven't seen it, you should watch Andrew Brigden speak in the UK Parliament about vax injuries. It's harrowing. Pair that with the new study showing vax hesitancy is leading to car accidents. Chetchism, we're gonna segue right there now. Karma Police, a $5 Rumble Rant says, love your energy, Viva. Glad you're taking a vacation from China. Thanks for your passion and articulate expression with a little greater than symbol and a 3, which makes a heart. Thank you very much, Karma. I actually been feeling a little tired these days, but that's probably just because I'm getting woken up many times a night by the freaking dog who's been peeing all over the house. I haven't talked about pee and poo in a while. Pudge, we gave her a trachea, like a big piece of trachea bone, which is supposed to last, I don't know, a week or two. And she got through it in like an hour or two. And that's, you know, her all beef diet makes her poop nice and dry, nice and easy to pick up. Her poo-poo has not been dry or easy to pick up. And it's been a lot, as has been her urine. And the house, unfortunately, smells like urine. Chet Chisholm, $1 Rumble Rant says, yesterday, the NYPD evidence warehouse burned down. Nothing to see here, nothing at all, because it all went up in flames. We're going to, you know what? I have that article. I have that article on in our list of things to do. Being unvaccinated leads to car accidents. Let's do it. I'm going to put the link to Rumble here. And let's move over to Rumble now. We're just going to, I'm going to not worry about cutting it at a good time. On the menu for when we go to Rumble, the article, a study showing that unvaccinated people are statistically more likely to get into a car accident, resulting in someone being taken to the hospital, to justify an underlying thesis that either benefits should be given to vaccinated drivers or inverse, which they don't say in as many words. Sam Bankman-Fried, I was listening to the congressional hearings yesterday with Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, and a professor and another professor. I'm going to talk about a couple of highlights there. Elon Musk banning the Elon's Plane Twitter account and related discussion to that. And what else is it? There's a bunch of stuff. So mosey on over to Rumble, people. We're going to do it. Link again. The link is in the pinned comment. I think is it in the pinned comment in the chat? Let me see. If it's not, I'm going to put it there right now. Shh. Good news is I'm seeing an ad on the video at least here. Okay, link to Rumble. Typo will be living with it. Rubo. Pin message, and let's go to Rumble now. And I'm going to close that down. I'm going to leave that up. I'm going to go to StreamYard. Everybody, mosey on over. Oh my goodness, you know what? Before I forget, and we're going to talk about a Norwegian artist, lesbian woman, who's under investigation right now because she said men cannot be lesbians. We're going to talk about the article, and amazing news, she's actually going to be coming on for an interview Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock, 1700 o'clock Norwegian time. Yeah, look, Rumble, it will be, Rumble's good. Substance over form, they're working on things. If you have any criticisms, any constructive critiques, let me know. Yesterday, I was at the locals office talking about locals and everything related to locals. Get your recommendations, suggestions into me, and I will get them to the team at Rumble. Now, with that said, let's end this on YouTube and move over to Rumble. People, 3, 2. Now, you know what? We're going to wait until it's 24 minutes on the nose, just because it'll make me feel better to see a nice round of 3, 2, 1, and now. Oh, I missed it. Son of a gun. No, I did. Okay, good. Okay, what do we want to start with now that we're on Rumble? Let's start with the article, the story, which it's a story that's so preposterous on its face. You say it has to be fake, but it's not fake. And then I find it on Fox News. I was like, okay, I'm gonna cite Fox News, but maybe that's not a good place to talk about it. Oh, no, sorry, maybe that's not a legitimate story. Maybe they got it wrong. Fox reporter once got something wrong in Ottawa where she said that the Indigenous lady who got trampled by the horse died. Fox News gets things wrong. Maybe it's wrong. It's not. Now I've been in touch with the actual artist, the actual woman at the heart of the story. It's a true story, and it's preposterous. Preposterous. Let me just get it here. Viva Barnes, Brooklyn Dead. Oh, I got an article about Brooklyn Dead. Elon Musk. Men are men. Norwegian artist facing criminal charges, potential prison sentence over gender comments. This is the world we're living in. And I find myself saying, not make it stop as in the world. Make the madness stop. Make this make sense and make people who are otherwise just too lazy and too apathetic to care, make them care. Because my operating theory, and I've been saying it for a while, is that there are very few movements which are more fundamentally misogynist and anti-woman than the purported transgender debate. There can be nothing more misogynist than telling biological women, you must compete in competitive sports against biological males. There can be nothing that denies womanhood and the existence of women and the biological differences between men and women that made it necessary to have separate categories so that women could compete at a competitive level and have likelihoods of succeeding and winning without being pitted against a sex that has an inherent biological advantage over them when it comes to certain and most athletic sports. Some people give the examples of gymnastics. Gymnastics, other than being based somewhat on flexibility, and women are typically more flexible than men, is also a subjective sport. Some people point to archery, darts. There are certain sports where I can say, yeah, I don't understand having a women's division. Poker. I was watching poker yesterday, and after one tournament came on, a women's event came on, and I was thinking, chess, poker, things where physical strength, physical stamina, testosterone are not biologically relevant, I can understand that. Where it is, there's nothing more misogynist than telling a biological woman that they need to compete with biological men who might be going through whatever medical procedures are necessary to decrease their inherent biological advantage. There's nothing more misogynist than telling a lesbian woman that she is a TERF for not wanting to engage in sexual activity with a transgender biological male. Nothing. Convince me that I'm wrong. I have an open mind. This is from Redux. I don't know what it is, but I verified multiple sources and have now corresponded with. I know I'm going to mispronounce her name because I'm still not. It's either Tanya or Tonje. A woman in Norway is facing criminal charges and a possible prison sentence of up to 3 years for stating that men cannot be lesbians. Tonje Jevjan, if I got that right, I hope I got it right. A lesbian artist was notified on November 17 that she was under police investigation for hate speech over a statement she posted to Facebook. Let's go see if this links to the Facebook here. I'm not going to be able to read that. Is there a translate function? The article will tell us. It's all in a language that I do not speak. In her post, Jevjan railed against trans-identified males who call themselves lesbians and condemned trans activists who seek to criminalize women who oppose gender ideology. Quote, "It's just as impossible for men to become lesbian as it is for men to become pregnant," Jevjan wrote. "Men are men regardless of their sexual fetishes." Now, I would like to know if this is a translation, if it's fetishes, proclivities, preferences. There might be a number of words that could probably substitute for whatever word was used, because I could see some people saying, it's not a fetish, it's my identity. And for you to call it a fetish is trivializing my identity. Therein lies your thought crime. Therein lies your thought crime, Tonya. Jevjan particularly singled out the actions of prominent Norwegian trans activist Christine Jentoft, a man who claims to be a lesbian mother and who currently serves as a representative for the nation's leading trans activist group, Foreningen FRI. Jentoft has been at the center of a clash between women's rights activists and Norway's hate speech legislation, which was revised in 2020. The amendments went into effect last year. By the way, pay attention to the amendments, because Jordan Peterson was raising the flags about this in Canada back in 2016, back before I was too shy to express my own personal opinion on certain things, as if my opinion could not be a wholly educated and justified opinion worthy of expression on the public square thingy thing. The amendments went into effect last year included the category of gender identity or gender expression, specifically the provisions, specifically the terminology that went into the recent amendments to Canada's criminal code. A move women's rights campaigners in the nation warned would result in a chill over free speech, especially where it related to the reality of biological sex. Let me just see how far down this goes. Now, this goes a little bit, it's a longer article than the first one. We're not going to read through the whole thing, but let's see here. Earlier this year, Genshoff filed criminal charges against Christina Ellingsen, a representative of Women's Declaration International, Norway, for stating that men can neither be lesbians nor mothers. As reported by Redux in May, a police investigation was launched into Ellingsen's alleged transphobia, and like Zhevjan, she is facing up to 3 years in prison if found guilty. I thought I had heard December 13, so I thought I had read somewhere that those charges were dropped. I don't know if it happened within a day of this article. And that's it. We're gonna find out more later. Everybody, I'm gonna give you the link to this so that you can go ahead and read it yourself. This is the madness of the world in which we're living. Can you imagine what the idea of criminalizing a woman, a lesbian woman, from saying biological men cannot be lesbians? And it's an amazing thing because, you go through the thought experiment where you have transitioners and you have detransitioners. You have people who say, I'm a male who identifies as a female, go through, a certain period of time, certain procedures, and then at some point say, nah, I'm going back to being a male. And did I go from being lesbian to now being straight again? Was I gay before? And then when I became a trans, now I'm bisexual. Now I'm heterosexual because I'm attracted to men, but I identify as a woman. If the male goes to being identifying as a female and now says I'm a lesbian and detransitions, do they become heterosexual again? We're living through absolute madness, where stating that a man cannot be a woman is a thought crime, and in certain jurisdictions, an actual crime. So the question is going to be, how far does this go? Jordan Peterson raised the flags, sounded the alarm in Canada 5-6 years ago, and we're seeing it happen in real time now elsewhere. Navy Nam Vet says, has any archaeologist determined any human remains unearthed being other than a man or a woman? Well, they don't know how they identified when they were alive, Navy Nam Vet. Let's see here. Nike 7, $1 Rumbrand says the PDGA, Pro Disc Golf, just ruled 2 trans women can no longer compete as pros because of when they transitioned. Bear in mind, people, it's like men can be women. There's no difference, except there's such biological differences that they have to create rules that allow for penalizing through medicines the innate biological advantage that men have, but there's no difference between men and women, and you're a bigot facing potential criminal charges if you state that obvious fact. Please stop. Who cares? Says Dana 36G. Well, I care. Monday we're going to have the artist on to talk about the story. So that's the latest in the madness of the world in which we live. Someone make it stop. Not the world, just the madness. And it's a madness that the media is complicit in manufacturing. It's not reality. It never would be reality, and it would never have achieved the brainwashing levels of cultism that it has achieved, but for the media. If anybody wonders why I'm talking about the media, it's the segue to the next segment. Without the help of the demonically, maniacally, diabolically evil media, because it is evil. It's evil, the media. People say it's the enemy of the people, and I should say the mainstream, the legacy media. The media that spends time and all of its efforts crafting a politically motivated, an ideologically motivated narrative. It's the enemy of the people, because if it ever did reflect the will of the people, or at least its inherent purpose of informing the people, I don't know when the last time it did that was. I saw this on the interwebs on Twitter. And I mean, I just so could not believe it. I had to go, I did not double check all of them, people. I gave up after about 5 because they all checked out. You talk about reporting reality versus crafting a narrative. You may not be able to read this, but I'll read it because I think I can. This just goes back to media coverage, depending on ideological, political skew, slant, perspective, motivation. Vox at one point reported the effect of Black Lives Matter protests on coronavirus cases explained. It's relatively ambiguous, or what's the word I'm looking for? Neutral. Vox, the attack on the Capitol may also have been a super spreader event. Washington Post, moving to the right. Protests probably didn't lead to coronavirus spikes, but it's hard to know for sure. Storming of Capitol, this is also the Washington Post, was textbook potential coronavirus super spreader event, experts say. Moving down, this one's from ABC News. Minnesota sees no rise in COVID-19 cases tied to protests, health officials. Also from ABC News, Capitol Hill riot could prove to be COVID-19 super spreader event, experts say. Forbes, research determines protests did not cause spike in coronavirus cases. Forbes, lawmakers sheltering during Capitol riot may have been exposed to coronavirus. CNN, Black Lives Matter protests have not tied to a spike in coronavirus cases, research says. CNN, 36 Capitol police officers test positive for COVID-19 after Capitol riot. And it goes on. Blaming protesters for COVID-19 spread ignores the bigger threat to health. The Verge. COVID-19 cases in the Capitol are only the tip of the iceberg. Can you imagine? I'm going to stop now. Can you imagine actually plausibly, seriously trying to suggest that the Capitol riot would have been a super spreader event when the exceedingly vast majority of the people remained outside in open air? I was talking with someone who's smart, very smart, and was not serious in the defense of the indefensible, but played devil's advocate and said, well, Viva, you do know that the Black Lives Matter Summer of Love protest was mostly outdoors. So some could argue that when they penetrated the Capitol, it was a concentrated, enclosed element of potential super spreader. To which I said, good, it's creative thinking, you devil's advocate, you person happens to be a lawyer as well. If that's going to be the argument, well, you remember when they took over that police station back in Chop Chaz? That would be an enclosed area that could be a super spreader event. But by and large, even at January 6th, the bulk of the protest remained outdoors, where I think it was hundreds of thousands of people stayed outside. It is in your face, Orwellian, narrative-driven, hype, division, that it's for the world to see, and it's so preposterous, it looks fake on its face when you first see it, but it's not. MSN is truly the enemy of the people, because what they do also, if they're right, then they're putting people at risk. And if they're wrong, then they're denying people their fundamental rights and demonizing half of the population. Navy Namvet, $2 rumper. No, I already got that one. There was another one. Pasha P. Moyer. Okay, I'm here now. You may start. $1. Thank you, Pasha. Jonathan, $5 rumper says, it's not hard to do your thing and leave others alone. This is all ideology, modern Marxism. Now that I know what the Marxism debate looks like, I'm somewhat inclined to agree. Media-driven rubbish, MSM, enemy of the people. Let's move right on to the next story. Did you know, by the way, this story poses two problems. One is a little more subtle than the other. Unvaccinated drivers are more likely to get into car accidents. That's going to lead to arguments to say that we should either give discounts to vaccinated drivers or penalties to unvaccinated drivers. That's one minor problem of the bullshit study in the first place. You know what the other problem is? How'd they get the data? Is this the government now granting data so that it can be used for purposes other than any legitimate purpose that it might have been procured for? How did they get the data of who's vaccinated and who's not for the purposes of using that information to do a study related to alleged car accidents. It came from no less than CTV News. Ah, tabarnouche. Colin de Benirou, l'esti d'histoire là. I'm going to pull up the article in a second when I can find it, or I'm just going to have to go find a new one. It's not that one. Well, you know what? Okay, I'm going to use this as an excuse here. Here, everyone, if you want to get a shirt, go get a shirt. VivaFried.com. Anti-authority. We have an entire merch store, VivaFried.com, where you can get great shirts, such as this one. That's not that one. I'm going to use this window to go to it. Google unvaccinated car accidents. There we go. Let's just pull this up. Was it from Fortune? I'll take the article from Fortune. CTV News reported on this because it's real news and it's real studies and it's good science. People who skipped their COVID vaccine are at a higher risk of traffic accidents, according to a new study. I've got questions. Oh my God, I just thought of another angle. Oh my goodness, they don't understand the underlying potential racism of this study, the discrimination of this study. Who's statistically less likely to get vaccinated? We know it. Blacks, Latinos, Indigenous, Canadians, and Americans. Why? Because of the history of the government of abusing of those ethnic groups. Who would be more likely to skip their COVID vaccines? Blacks, Latinos, and Indigenous Canadians and Americans. Who would be more likely to get into a car accident? Well, if you swap out one qualification, this article is either saying that minorities are worse drivers or suggesting they should be taxed more. Oh, or that Caucasian drivers who are statistically more vaccinated should get benefits on their car insurance. Didn't think of that one until now. Oh my God, are we living through madness? Should not have used God's name in vain. If you passed on getting the COVID vaccine, you might be a lot more likely to get into a car crash. No, you know why? Because those things have absolutely nothing to do with one another. There's a way to make it make sense. I'll get there in a second. Or at least those are the findings of a new study published this month in the American Journal of Medicine. During the summer of 2021, Canadian researchers examined the encrypted government-held records of more than 11 million adults, 16% of whom hadn't received the COVID vaccine. They found that the unvaccinated people were 72% more likely to be involved in a severe traffic crash, in which at least one person was transported to the hospital, than those who were vaccinated. By the way, you stupid idiot. I'm sorry. Oh my God. There's thoughts coming into my head now in real time. Do you know who would be statistically less likely to be vaccinated? Like, set aside the racist argument now, not Black Canadians, Indigenous Canadians, or Latino Canadians and Americans. Who would be less likely to get vaccinated? Young people. Who are most likely to get into car accidents in the first place? Young people, you dumbasses. Oh my gosh. There's your explanation, by the way. You know who gets into car accidents statistically more often than anyone else? Young people. Who would be more? I'd like to know the age bracket of those who got into the car accidents under the study. Maybe we find out here. Maybe we find out, maybe we don't, because we're being lied to. That's similar to the increased risk of car crashes for people with sleep apnea, though only about half of that of people who abuse alcohol. The excess risk of car crash posed by unvaccinated drivers exceeds the safety gains from modern automobile engineering advances and also imposes risks on other road users. Can I know the age of the bracket? Can I know the age of the people who got into the car accidents? The average age, or is it the mean or the median? You know what I mean? Of course, skipping a COVID vaccine does not mean that someone will get into a car crash. Instead, the authors theorize that people who resist public health recommendations might also neglect basic safety guidelines. Or they might just be young drivers who don't have that part of their brain fully developed yet and typically get into increased accidents regardless, which is why insurance on a young person driver is a lot more than an insurance on someone who has a proven track record of safety. Oh, do they tell us the age? Why would they ignore the rules of the road? Distrust the government? A belief in freedom? Misconceptions of daily risks? Faith in natural protection? Antipathy toward regulation? Poverty? Misinformation? A lack of resources and personal beliefs are potential reasons proposed by the authors. The findings are significant enough that primary care doctors should consider counseling unvaccinated patients on traffic safety. Can you understand what we're talking about here? Sounds like you need to go to re-education camp, Mr. Unvaccinated patient. You don't want to get vaccinated? Have you talked about traffic safety lately? I might have to refer you to the government for a mandatory traffic safety course. Holy shit. And insurance companies might base changes to insurance policies on vaccination data, the author suggests. I like short articles. First responders may also consider taking precautions. Oh my God, I didn't even get to this part. This is next level delusional insanity. First responders may also consider taking precautions to protect themselves from COVID when responding to traffic crashes. Hold on. Oh my goodness. This is what I look like without my glasses, by the way. Not good. Okay. Oh my goodness. They are suggesting, this is showing the thought process of the authors, that when you get into an emergency situation of a car crash, and you're a presumably vaccinated first responder, you might want to take additional precautions. You might want to take a little more time getting to that accident. You might want to mask up the victim. Like, if they're lying there with their head through the windshield, maybe just put a mask on them first, because you don't want to, you vaccinated first responder, don't want to potentially get a virus that has virtually no risk for you given your demographic and presumably vaccination status. You might potentially get the virus from this unconscious victim laying in their car, which might get you sick. And even if that happens, because they happen to be unvaccinated, your chances of survival are all but guaranteed. Unless you happen to be like one of those EMTs that's 75 years old with COPD, heart condition, diabetes, one of those obese 70-year-old EMTs sweating as you run to the scene of the accident. This is pathological insanity. Or what are they going to do also, by the way? Are they going to make people, when they drive, wear a bracelet or like a patch to identify if they're vaccinated, so that first responders know their level of risk when getting to them? I don't know. Maybe insurance companies should make drivers wear a little medical alert bracelet if they're not vaccinated, so first responders know if they have to treat them at a distance. It's delusional. The findings suggest that unvaccinated adults need to be careful in the author. I'm going to tell you this. This is hate speech, as it's more likely that a driver is unvaccinated than vaccinated. It is likely that the driver is of a dirty cast. And by the way, if the driver's black or indigenous or Latino, chances are they're more likely unvaccinated. Treat them with caution. This is when we have heard about how people became willing executioners, good people. Civilized societies descent into madness, where good people did atrocious things. Get people to believe absurdities, you can get them to commit atrocities. And we are right now here getting them to believe absurdities so that we can actually imply that they should commit atrocities. The findings suggest that unvaccinated adults need to be careful indoors with other people and outside with surrounding traffic, the authors concluded. Yeah, those cars are just flying through people's houses. Those unvaccinated drivers just zipping off freeways into people's houses. This isn't the first time that researchers have examined the link between behavior and vaccination status among young adults. A 2021 study published by the blah, 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 finds a report between self-reported risky driving and having skipped their flu vaccine. It examined this. Oh my goodness, people. We're through the looking glass in the worst possible way. Mahuyo $5 Rumble Rant. I'm willing to bet that they didn't even do any math or check the background behind these people. That's a $5 Rumble Rant. Thank you very much. Chisholm, a $1 Rumble Rant, says, in all the car accidents I've responded to over the course of my career, they have all had one thing in common. They were outside. I'm not worried about getting a virus in a crumpled car outside. Just appreciate the absolute insane conclusions that they're coming to. Treat them with, oh God, take a few more minutes. Put a mask on them. Be careful. If they've gotten into a car accident, they might be unvaccinated. You vaccinated DMT might get the virus from them, and especially if they're Black, Latino, or Indigenous, then you really have 2 strikes against them for being vaccinated. Be wary. Be careful of them. Oh, and by the way, tax them more. This is how you go from the offensive idea of François Legault in Quebec, the premier of Quebec, to tax the unvaccinated because of their increased burden on the healthcare system, allegedly. Even though it happens to be the case now that the majority of people in the hospital with COVID are vaccinated. Set that aside. That's only because everyone's vaccinated. At one point, they floated that idea. Too many people found it offensive. Well, let's get a little science with a little bullshit media. Let me take that back. Let's get a little bullshit science, backed up a little bullshit media to prime the general population to unequal treatment of the vaccinated in a manner that will make it palatable for them to condone atrocities, to condone discrimination against their fellow citizens. That's how it works. What were the ages of the people who got into car accidents on average, you dumbasses? I'm sorry, I'm swearing too much today. What was the age? What was the average, mean, whatever the term is in math, of the people who got into car accidents? I'm going to wager a guess. And say it was under 30. I might even wager a guess to say that there was statistical overrepresentation in the over 16 but under 20 category. More likely to not get vaccinated because they're young and healthy. And in their minds, that might be enough. I don't want to get into a Joe Rogan trouble here. Young and healthy, and might have certain risks that they don't want to run into with the jibby jab, like, a little swollen heart. One of the rare times in life when having a big heart is not exactly what you want. It might be that demographic who are statistically the ones that represent a lot of car accidents in the first place, statistically are the least at risk requiring vaccination in the second place, and are statistically the most at risk for getting vaccinated in the first place. I'd like to know. P. Moyer, $3 Rumble Rant. When I first saw the driving article, I thought of this website with other humorous correlations that are clearly not causations. TylerVigen.com/spurious-correlations. Tyler, TYLER-VIGEN.com/spurious, like the word, -correlations. For anyone listening to this on podcast tomorrow or this afternoon, who knows? Okay, well, that's one fake news element story of the day. Outrageous. Well, while we're on Canada and the media crafting narratives, for all those of you who have not heard, and it might include some of you on the east coast of Canada who might still be rebuilding from Hurricane Ian, while you guys rebuild on the East Coast, the government promised you, I think it was $300 million to rebuild over 2 years. While you guys rebuild, while Canada doesn't have enough money to properly care for its ill, to the point where it euthanizes them instead for the healthy savings to the system, while all that's going on in Canada, while they neglect, and more than neglect, euthanize their own citizens because they're unable to care for them in a humane way, they found another $115 million to repair Kiev's power grid, in addition to the $2 billion in direct funding they've already given. Canada will transfer $115 million to repair Kiev's power grid after repeated Russian attacks against Ukraine's energy infrastructure, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, as she pronounces it, said on Tuesday. Chrystia Freeland, for those of you who don't know, has strong Ukrainian ties and is very proud of them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Until such time as one can legitimately question when there is a conflict of interest for an elected official of Canada who seems to be prioritizing the well-being of another nation, another people she was not elected to represent, but whom she might have an affinity to representing because of her own family and historical ties to the country. At what point does Chrystia Freeland's family ties to the Ukraine become a conflict of interest for her ability to faithfully and loyally represent the people she was elected to represent, her own damn citizens? $150 million to repair Kiev's power grid when the East Coast is still building and there's so little money in the healthcare system that people are driven to euthanize themselves because it saves them from the anguish of being neglected by the Canadian healthcare system. But don't worry, guys, the money's not coming from Canada. It's just coming from tariffs that, instead of being directed to Canadian citizens, is going to be directed to rebuilding a power grid in a foreign country as a result of a conflict that Canada and the international community has done nothing but exacerbate and prolong. The money will come from tariff revenues collected on imports from Russia and Belarus, Freeland said at the Standing with the Ukrainian People conference in Paris. Oh, that's nice. Pledging Canadian dollars while in Paris at a Standing with the Ukrainian People conference, where she's dedicating Canadian resources to foreign conflict while neglecting her own people. And this is not a question of saying, I don't have a humanitarian bone in my body. Canada and the US are not the police of the world. And it is not up to Canada and the US to resolve all of the problems of all of the peoples of the world. And for anybody who says, Viva, you have no humanity if you say, don't rebuild Kiev's power grid, I will reply to you and say, you have no humanity if you're telling me that Canadian citizens have to off themselves with government assistance because the government can't properly care for them because the government doesn't have enough money in the healthcare system. You're the one who doesn't have any humanity in you. Putin and his henchmen are war criminals, and they are attempting to use the cold as weapons to break the spirit of the remarkable people of Ukraine, Freeland said. And some might say that you, Freeland, and your political ilk are political opportunists exploiting the conflict in Ukraine to fight a proxy war against your ideological adversary, Russia. Some. The support from Canada will help ensure that Ukraine can secure its energy infrastructure and make it through the difficult winter to come. You hear that, East Coast? How are you guys doing? I know people on the East Coast were out of power again because of a winter storm, not because of the relics, or maybe it was exacerbated by the damage from this summer. The group of 7 rich nations said on Monday they would set up a multi-agency platform to coordinate aid to Ukraine and support its repair, recovery, and reconstruction. What percentage of that $115 million is going to make it? Is it going to be 30% like we saw in that now deleted CBS report? Canada has spent $2 billion in direct financial assistance to Ukraine so far in 2022. $2 billion, while François Legault is telling hospitals in Quebec to cut $150 million from their budget. And committed an additional $500 million through the Ukraine Sovereignty Bond earlier this year, the Office of Deputy Prime Minister said in a press conference. Canada, the United States, and other Western allies have provided other forms of financial intelligence, military assistance to Ukraine, yada, yada, yada. When does it become a conflict of interest for a politician, a Canadian politician, elected to represent faithfully and loyally the Canadian citizens, diverting billions of Canadian dollars abroad to foreign conflict when Canadians are literally dying, waiting in long waiting lines in hospitals, are literally ending their own lives because the healthcare system can't care for them, and are literally struggling to rebuild because of natural disaster affecting infrastructure in Canada? Does the big guy get 10%, says Skeptical 59. I don't know how the cut works here. Someone's getting their 30%. Someone's getting their 30 to 70%. The article proves their desire to see people suffer. Pure evil, says, I'm not your buddy guy. $2 Rumbrand, thank you. I'm not sure which article. I mean, are you talking about the car accident article? Or are you talking about another $115 million to rebuild Kiev's power structure while Canadians... All right. Well, that's that. That's all I got to say about that. What's next that's going to make us... Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me see here. So we got Sam Bankman-Fried. Some testimony yesterday, which is going to loop well into Kevin O'Leary's testimony during the commission. And then we got... let's just do this so I can get it off my list and narrow things down here. Doesn't really relate to anything else. I have been noticing on Twitter a lot of accounts that I don't follow. Well, I notice a lot of accounts that I don't follow regardless, but accounts coming up in my feed that I'm obviously going to engage with in a non-harmonious fashion because it's the dumbest garbage on the face of the planet. I've just noticed them come up, and then I engage, and then they come up more and more. One is Republicans against Trumpism. Another one is this person named Marsh, Marsh, who just tweets out National Enquirer level disinformation. There's a couple more. Krasenstein. You guys know who I'm talking about. They're brothers, Krasenstein or something. And another one is Brooklyn Dad Defiant. He's been on my feed, I guess, a little bit for a little while. But he's been coming up a lot more, and I have to either just ignore, mute, or stop engaging because I don't think it's sincere. And I think I found the confirmation as to why. For those of you who didn't know, yesterday Donald Trump made an announcement of an announcement. He says, I got a big announcement coming out tomorrow. And I would not have known about this announcement of an announcement had it not been for all of the out of their gourd, blue checkmark, liberal, progressive, Democrat Twitter accounts all freaking out about it. Here's an announcement. He should go to jail. Here's an announcement. I'm a big stinking piece of this one here. I would not have known about Trump's announcement of an announcement had it not been. There's another one that I follow, Tedrick or something, or that I don't follow that I've seen. I would not have known about Trump's announcement of an announcement had it not been for the blue check marks who are obsessed with Trump, who brought it to my attention. So I guess, guys, thank you very much. Has the announcement happened yet? I don't know. Brooklyn Dad Defiant came out with one and said, here's my announcement. Oh, here's my major announcement. And I'm going to read this because it's analytical. It's thoroughly thought out, well-sourced, well-evidenced, fair, objective, not hateful, and not defamatory. Here's my major announcement. Donald Trump is a weak, lying, racist, misogynist, seditious, treasonous, ass whistle who belongs in prison for the rest of his miserable life. Let's just walk through this for a second. Weak is a subjective opinion. First of all, I'm being tongue-in-cheek. This is all obviously hyperbolic opinion and protected speech. So I just want to have a little fun. Weak is a subjective assessment, and I think it's also pretty wrong. I don't think Trump is weak physically. Maybe spiritually, I don't know, but he's not spiritually weak either. You might hate him, and you probably hate him because he is so spiritually strong that he defies all of this rubbish that he's been facing for the last 6 years. Lying, I don't think Donald Trump is innocent of lying. I'm sure he has lied at some point in his life, as we all have. Racist, that's an opinion that is protected speech, but very dumb. A very, very dumb opinion. Misogynist, I don't even know what that's based on. Seditious is an actual accusation of a crime for which he has not been charged ever, although there has been seditious conspiracy of the Oath Keepers conviction. What relation Trump had to that? Seems the FBI had a little more relation to that than Trump would have. Treasonous, legally inapplicable, ass whistle. Don't know why everything on the progressive left, blue checkmark Dem side, finds its way coming back to ass for some reason. Ass whistle. Don't know what that is, and I don't want to know. Who belongs in prison for the rest of his miserable life. Democrats, lovers of freedom, due process, free speech, tolerance, peace and love. Peace and love. So I read that. I reply, I say, look, Democrats, true to form. The people who say love, tolerance, peace and all of that, due process, rule of law, lock him up for the rest of his life. Oh, it's hyperbolic. When I say lock him up, I mean metaphorically. When Elon Musk says prosecute Trump, it's hate speech. But I saw someone said something about Brooklyn Dad, and I had to Google it. And again, full disclosure, this is a New York Post article. New York Post has been guilty of some fake story or some inaccurate stories, and it's been responsible for some truly accurate stories. The Hunter Biden one in particular. I had to go check a comment that I saw to make sure that it was mildly supported by the evidence. And I found this article in the New York Post. And now, by the way, just read this article, and I would operate on the basis that it's probably true of all of those accounts that look like bot accounts that do nothing but spew anti-Trump, anti-Republican rubbish on the platform and have, for whatever the reason, Massive engagement. Biden boosting influencer Brooklyn Dad slammed for taking PAC money, Political Action Committee money. A Joe Biden boosting social media influencer known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant came under fire Wednesday. This is from March 2021. For reportedly failing to disclose that he accepted tens of thousands of dollars from a Democratic Political Action Committee. Majid Padalan, who runs the nearly 900,000 follower-strong Twitter account, has been slammed previously for urging Bernie Sanders to drop out of the 2020 presidential race, allegedly accepting more than $57,000 from a pro-Biden PAC. Really American. Last year, according to Refinery 21, which had the tweets, and I'll just so everybody can see it, because it had a tweet of the filing. Not my homework, and this might all turn out to be fake and false, but apparently Brooklyn Dad did not respond for comment. There you have their evidence from, is that a doobie in her mouth? That's a big fat doobie right there. I'll tell you. No, that's a cigarette. Okay. All right. So that's their homework. Yada, yada, yada. In his bio, Paladin says he's a senior advisor to the PAC, but followers slammed him for failing to admit he allegedly got paid to post pro-Biden opinions and theories, according to the outlet. And then we just get into people reacting. Some people defending him. It wasn't immediately clear if Padalan was directly paid to post positive tweets about Biden. He didn't immediately return the post's request for comment Wednesday. That's, integrity is everything. If you have integrity, nothing else matters. And if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. So now I think once you get into that level of literally paid opinions, they're no longer opinions. They're someone else's opinion. There is no longer any integrity. There's no longer any purpose to interact, engage, because it's insincere. It's paid discourse. But that's what I found out that was interesting. And now I wonder how many other people are doing the exact same thing. We've seen it happen. People do not disclose that they're getting paid to promote a product, to promote a campaign, to promote an ideology. And you imagine, like, people who follow Brooklyn Dad and say, I trust this guy. He's telling me to abandon Bernie Sanders. And then you find out he's paid by a political action committee that supports Biden to tell the people who are following him, thinking it's his opinion that they respect, to stop following Bernie Sanders. Anyhow, that was an interesting article. I will now proceed accordingly and no longer engage with Brooklyn Dad Defiant, because I don't think it's sincere discourse. Although I'd like to hear, if he had a defense, I'd like to hear what his defense is or was or will be. All right, that was it. Now let's get, hold on. Yes, speaking of political action committees and paying to influence votes, Sam Bankman-Fried, arrested the day he was supposed to testify before Congress virtually, presumably while not playing video games like he did the day before. Arrested. Some say conveniently because he will no longer be able to testify, at least for the time being. Some people do believe the arrest was carried out in order to prevent him from testifying, because his testimony would have been terrible, and we'll see what happens in the long run. There's been a long rash of unfortunate events plaguing the crypto world. And there's been a long rash of unfortunate events plaguing, people who might have dirt on politicians. And I don't like saying it, because I don't like looking or even thinking like I'm wishing that in the world. I don't like putting that juju out there. But there's people out there who are suggesting that, we'll see where he is in a year. But at least for this week, he's not testifying before Congress. So he gets arrested. He gets sued. And we covered the lawsuit the other day. I put the clip of that section on Viva Clips. Sued by the SEC, 2 counts of fraud, and some very damning allegations in there. That lawsuit, the SEC lawsuit, which named political contributions, it referenced political contributions, substantial political contributions, 4 times, without mentioning to whom specifically or to which party at large. Democrats. Lots and lots and lots to Democrats. Whether it's 80 million to Democrats and 3.5 million to Republican for primaries, it's a lot. And whether it's at least 70 million as per what we know definitively, 40 million from Sam Bankman-Fried and 30 some odd million from other executives, or as Elon suggests, closer to $1 billion. It's a lot. And so although SBF has been arrested, was not able to testify before Congress, other people were. And I pulled this clip. I was going to pull the naked clip, but I like Robert Gouveia, and I like his commentary.
But what about the...
So Robert Gouveia, Watching the Watchers, goes live every night. I think it's 6. I get mixed up, 6 or 7 o'clock. Robert Gouveia, Watching the Watchers, phenomenal. He's got these mind maps, which are phenomenally interactive. So I pulled the clip from his commentary of the hearing, but listen to this.
But what about the money that has not been recovered? What about the family? Is there evidence that there were other actors involved? The answer is yes. Mr. Ray III answers a question in Congress saying, yeah, SBF's family, yeah, they got a nice chunk of that money.
Is there any evidence of his parents' involvement in the operations?
We're going to get to this.
We're investigating that, as well as any other, players in the
Email, Slack, Signal.
It's billions of records. It's a very vibrant environment.
So I hear that.
I presumed everybody knew this already, but Sam Bankman-Fried's parents, one of them is a Stanford professor, another one, Stanford professors, well politically connected lawyers who draft, policy, or are involved in policy. So much so that Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, said that, when he invested in FTX, when he decided to become the paid ambassador, and we're going to get to that, he was encouraged, reassured by the fact that Sam Bankman-Fried's parents, who are involved in regulatory compliance, who are lawyers, Stanford professors, well, they're in this also. So it's got to be clean. It's got to be up to par. Now the question is, did his parents get any money from this?
You haven't discovered that? I mean, it would seem interesting that that they didn't either give legal advice or business advice or parental advice.
I've been asking this question as well when I went through the lawsuit. Who structured this corporate structure? Who structured this web of companies? FTX, Alameda, his subsidiary, FTX or the org, the fund, the charitable arm of FTX. All of these other companies, these web of companies where money was going around from and to. Who structured it? I can tell you one thing. I don't think it was SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried himself.
SBF's parents evidently are, very high up lawyers, people at Stanford, people who are in the regulatory finance area, who've talked about cryptocurrencies, who are sort of in this industry. And this is one of the reasons why people like Kevin O'Leary, who is one of the...
I knew this before. I said it before Robert did, but yes, Robert is covering it as well.
Individuals on Shark Tank, why he said that he trusted SBF and FTX. I believe we played the clip here where he said, well, actually, I trust this organization because Sam's parents are compliance lawyers.
It can't
so
go
nothing
wrong.
can possibly go wrong with any of these cases.
Maybe.
Well, certainly, clearly, and I think in our first day papers, we indicated that that Mr. Bankman had given legal advice.
Okay. Had he been an employee of FTX? Has it been...
Employee, such a red herring. The father gave legal advice. He didn't do it for free, guaranteed. And by the way, there's a good reason why he wouldn't do it for free. If he gets a malpractice claim for the advice, well, you want to make sure that your insurance covers it. So you want to make sure it's within the context of legal representation. His dad gave legal advice.
Reported?
I don't know if he actually had an employee status.
He might have been a consultant. It might have been a one-off. It might have been a per mandate. Wasn't an employee. Might have been an independent contractor, independent consultant.
Okay. He certainly received payments from... the family did receive payments.
Okay, that sounds like employment to me. You got a payment for...
Family
okay.
got payments.
Well, I raised that because on December 8th of 2020...
Look at that little smile he's got, too. How much money went over there? And he kind of has a little De Niro look, doesn't he? He kind of looks like Mr. Robert De Niro. He sort of talks, you know what I mean?
Robert is right. He does look like Robert De Niro. They certainly got paid. Mamacita. That's not going to be good. How much did they get paid? There was the question, by the way, where else did SBF funnel out these monies? The company was worth, 30 some odd billion, and it's worth nothing now. And they were throwing around not just potentially $1 billion for political donations, research. What's the word I'm looking? Philanthropic entities. You know, when the shit hit the fan and SBF goes down, Washington Post, New York Times, they're lamenting the fact that SBF just wanted to prevent the next pandemic. Like, is it when you see how the media builds up? I'm going to say an alleged fraudster, but I think it's quite clear that it's substantial fraud. When you see how the media builds up an alleged fraudster like SBF into a philanthropist who all he wanted to do was prevent the next pandemic, do you not think they might have done something similar, mutatis mutandis, with, I don't know, another philanthropist who just wants to prevent the next pandemic and solve world population problems? Bill Gates? If it's been done once, it's been done more than once. It's like, it's a fundamental rule of life. If it's happened once, it's happened before. If somebody did it, chances are they did it before. When a dog bites your dog and the owner says, oh, that's the first time he did it. No, it's not. No, it's not. You only get to say that once. So the family was paid. Billions of dollars was going out of this company. SBF, for those of you who don't know, FDX is taking in client money for the exchange. It's either being funneled to Alameda, a research company, or it's actually just being directed directly to Alameda because they give the wire transfer information to people who want to put monies for the cryptocurrency into FDX. Send it directly to Alameda. Then from Alameda, it goes to personal expenses, personal properties, family payment, now we know, political donations, now we know, philanthropic donations, we know now. There was a question, for those of you who don't know, about his parents. It's an amazing thing. I didn't pull up the first article. There was an article in Vox from 2020 that says the Political Action Committee that you've never heard about that raised $20 million in 2020 for the Democrats. This is from the Stanford Daily, and it's from January 16, 2020. Get this video out of here. Stanford Connected Fundraising Group wants to raise $140 million for Democrats in 2020. They didn't get there in 2020, but they got there in 2022. How? In 2018, the secretive Stanford Connected Democratic Fundraising Group, Mind the Gap, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now I'm wondering if I've seen this, and I've been thinking Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter. Mind the Gap, in 2018, they funneled over 20, and by the way, they're using the word funneled, not me. Funneled over $20 million towards competitive U.S. House Representative elections and get out the vote organizations. In 2020, MTG wants to increase that number to $140 million. MTG is led by Barbara Freed, the William W. and Gertrude H. Saunders Professor of Law, Paul Brest, an Emeritus Professor of Law and Director of Law. Okay, Graham Gottlieb. Of the three, Gottlieb has the most direct policy experience, having formerly served in junior roles in President Barack Obama, yada, yada. Over the 3-month period during 2018 election cycle, MTG built a donor network of over 800 people. Something tells me that network was a little bigger in 2022. I wonder why. I have my theories. Raised $11 million for 20 undervalued and underfunded House races, and raised $9 million for Get Out the Vote organization in 100 competitive races, according to leaked MTG memo signed by Freed, Brest, Gottlieb, yada. They did not respond to requests for comment. Freed, Brest, and Gottlieb wrote in the memo that MTG hopes to avoid media attention and reduce the chances of Republicans responding with early funding to counteract MTG investments in otherwise off-the-radar races, or maybe to not have too much scrutiny as to where those monies are coming from. Maybe, I don't know. That's my just asking the question out loud. According to the memo, MTG hopes to target states and national elections, yada yada. MTG intends to raise as much as $100 million for mail-based voter registration, $30 million for Get Out the Vote efforts, and $10 million for direct campaign funding, totaling $140 million. Yeah, that's right. Overall, with a minimum suggested contribution of $40,000. Let me just do one thing here. Mind the Gap 2020 votes. I think they only got 20 million in 2020. Here, let's see this. They plan to get 140. I think they only got 20 million. Okay, so How Silicon Valley's secretive donor group plans to beat Trump. Sounds like a cabal of well-funded people, changing laws, controlling the flow of information. They raised $20 million for Democrat causes and congressional candidates in advance of the midterms. But the group, so I think they only had, but the group has a far greater ambitions in the presidential cycle. Mind the Gap told prospective donors last fall it had already raised at least $35 million in political contributions. So I don't know what they got to in 2020, but Mind the Gap, 140 million, New York Post. They got to 140 million. They got to 140 million in 2022. Unless I've misread everything here. Get out of here with that video. SBF's mother, Stanford law professor Barbara Fried, also is co-founder of left-wing political action committee Mind the Gap, which has raised reported 140 million to help Democrats win throughout the same get out the vote grift. Oh, maybe that was in 2020. Either way, they wanted to avoid scrutiny. They can avoid scrutiny no longer. They shall be scrutinized. Maybe they won't. So that was one part of it. Now we're finding out, at the very least now, Bankman-Fried's dad got paid. The family got paid. We don't know how much. We don't know for what. But they were not the only people who got paid. Mr. Wonderful.
The potential of these crypto technologies is astronomical in scale. In August of 2021, nearly 3 years after I started allocating capital to the crypto sector, I entered into an agreement with FTX to be a paid spokesperson. I was paid approximately $15 million for these services, plus approximately $3 million to cover the portion of the taxes due. Of the remaining amounts, approximately $1 million was invested in FTX equity and approximately $10 million in tokens held in FTX wallets. The equity is now most likely worthless, and the accounts have been stripped of their assets and, interestingly, financial records. I've written them all off to zero. Because I was a paid spokesperson, however, I never invested any capital from our partners.
Little cover his own ass here. That's fine.
The capital lost was from an operating company that I had 100% ownership in. I'm using my own capital to pursue record recovery of the FTX accounts so I can conduct a forensic audit. The truth of this situation will be discovered by following the transaction trail after obtaining the records. I've applied for membership on the FTX Creditors Committee in connection with the bankruptcy proceedings because I feel obligated to pursue the facts on behalf of all stakeholders and believe my perspective of this situation will be helpful to the other creditor committee members.
So that's Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, disclosing what he seems very uncomfortable to disclose. Let me just go, if I may read a little into the body language.
$1 million for these services, plus agreement with FTX to be a paid spokesperson. I was paid approximately $15 million for these services.
Do you know, he's skipping over the important part very fast. I was paid approximately $15 million for these services.
Plus approximately $3 million to cover the portion of the taxes.
Plus, very fast, $15 million he was paid, plus $3 million to cover the taxes. 3 over 15 is a fifth. That's 20% tax rate on that. And this is what I don't understand. And chat, you'll let me know what you think. I've had this discussion with two people, smart people, both of whom came to different conclusions.
Of the remaining amounts, approximately $1 million was invested in FTX equity and approximately $10 million in tokens held in FTX wallets.
Of the remaining amount. So hearing this, he got paid $15 million. The $3 million for taxes, was that above and beyond the $15 million to cover the taxes on the $15 million? Or was that included in the $15 million? So it was effectively a $12 million net. Of that, listen.
Approximately $1 million was taxes due. Of the remaining amounts, approximately $1 million was invested in FTX equity and approximately $10 million in tokens held in FTX wallets.
Of the remaining amounts. So my question, and it's to Kevin O'Leary's benefit or to his detriment, 15 million plus 3 million for taxes. First question, is he talking about 12 million net? And the way he got paid was 1 million in capital and 10 million in FTT tokens. So really he got zero, netted, pocketed zero, because it is all probably worth zero. Is that what happened? Or did he get 15 million plus 3 million to cover the taxes, and he took the 15 million, bought 1 million in equity and 10 million in FTT tokens, and still netted 4 million? Or was it all of his payment as a paid ambassador invested in capital and tokens? What does everyone think? Because I genuinely don't know. I'd like the clarity tweeted out, but what does everyone think? 15 million plus 3 million to cover the taxes. Of the remaining, I invested 1 million in capital, 10 million in tokens that are worth zero. I'd also like to know what he was able to cash out. But now, Real Truth says 15 plus 3 plus 1 plus 10 is 29 million total. But I don't know that it goes that way, Real Truth. 15 million plus the 3 plus the 1 plus the 10. Or did he say, here's your 15, but we're not going to pay you 15 million. Here's 1 million in capital. Here's toilet paper stock. And here's 10 million in FTT tokens, soiled toilet paper. And then even if that's the case, even if he did lose 11 million, 1 million on the capital and 10 million on the tokens, did he net 3 million? Because that's still a pretty flipping good payday. So that's my question. Reading some of the chat. So I don't know. I would love to have, I know Kevin won't come on. He probably can't come on, even if I weren't an ass to him on Twitter, or a relative, if I weren't needling him on Twitter, or, asking questions that I'm sure he doesn't want to be asked. I don't think he would come on and discuss it anyhow, because he's named in the lawsuits. That's what's going on with SBF. We now know family was paid. We know how much O'Leary was paid. A bunch of spokespeople just taking money. Of course, they're just throwing money at them. So how can you say no? And we're going to find out what happens. Maybe we do find out. Maybe we don't. Let me see if that was all I had on that. Yeah, that's all I had on that. All right. What do we move on to now? Let me see here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Sold a university for billions. Get a TV show. Pushes FTX. Says Hooch 000. Kevin always played shell games. He has a pyramid scheme where he workshops where people would go and he would get them to invest in his plan. Quote. That's Cars 10W. Okay. So that's it. We're going to follow it. It's interesting stuff that's going on with FTX. And as the news develops, we shall cover it. This, I should have brought this up earlier. Growing up, I remember liberalism was mental disorder. These were some of the accounts that I'm seeing. Who else would like to see United States strip Elon of his government contracts and subsidies? Punish your adversaries. I'm going to laugh so effing hard if Elon is deported. Open border loving people. Let's do it. Ron Filipowski, the billionaire oligarch mom virus is the greatest threat to normal people. Threatening talk. Who's this one? Martin Vasovsky. I used to be proud of my Tesla, but now that Elon Musk, far-right conspiracy theory spreader and bully of public health authorities, I'm embarrassed to be seen as endorsing him. I also sold my Tesla shares. Wow. Okay, that was a random tweet. Okay, let me go through my notes in the back here. We're getting to Elon. No. Let me vent, people. Let me vent. Rachel Notley. For those of you who don't know who Rachel Notley is, politician, Albertan, mom to children and dogs. Okay. Ooh, mom. Wife. Those are fighting words in today's day and age to some people. Friend, leader of the Alberta NDP, New Democratic Party. Account run by Rachel Notley and staff. She, her. I wasn't sure. I was gonna call her he, him. I mean, she said mom and wife. She really needs to put she, her in there. That'll set the context for what we're about to read by way of tweet. I've lost my politeness for these people, and even when I lose it, I still remain relatively polite. She posts a beautiful picture. Just the sleuths of the internet see if anything is going wrong in that injection. Let's see. Is the plunger already down? Is there nothing in there? I'm joking. I'm joking. That's what people do on the internet. They dissect pictures. It doesn't matter. Mom, wife, she, her has to specify that even after saying she's a mom and a wife, because you can be a he, him for a mom and a wife, apparently. Posts her jibby jab pictures. In the apps, and by the way, and then thinks she's being a hero. In the absence of leadership from the UCP government, something conservative party government in Alberta, I will say it loud and clear. Get your COVID and flu shots. Today, I got the latest COVID booster, which is designed to protect even better against new strains. Well, good. I hope it protects better than the one that it didn't protect against. They are safe and effective. Rachel Notley is giving unsolicited medical advice on the interwebs. And I'm sorry, I lost my temper. If someone follows you, and I'm going to say it, I know that I pick out people's tweets when they say the same thing over and over again, like that guy who says, if Putin controls the gas prices, if Biden controls the gas prices, why isn't the Republican Party thanking him? There are some cases when repetition, contextually appropriate, is necessary. If someone follows your advice, Rachel Notley, gets the jab because you assured them it was, quote, safe and effective, and suffers a vaccine injury, can they sue you for damages? And I wanted to swear, people, but I didn't. If not, shut up and keep your damn unsolicited medical advice to yourself. These people have no skin in the game. They have nothing to gain. They have nothing to lose. And they only have virtue to gain by sitting out there giving unsolicited medical advice for which they can never be held responsible on behalf and for the benefit of a company that can never be sued or be held responsible, without knowing anything about the people that they're giving this medical advice to, with impunity and immunity. They need to shut up. And if they're going to come out and give people medical advice, they should be willing to suffer the potential legal consequences that result if someone gets injured from that unsolicited, unlicensed medical advice. Said mom, wife, she, her. It didn't say doctor in her account. And even a doctor does not give blanket medical advice on the internet any more than a certified lawyer gives legal advice on the internet. I hear the doorbell ring. Hold on just 1 second. No, it wasn't the FBI. It's the internet. I don't know how the internet company just shows up unsolicited without giving warning when I can't come off the internet to fix my extender issue. It's not the feds, people, although that is the obvious joke to make. Although every time the doorbell rings, I do have that thought goes through my head. Okay. That's the end of that. The people telling people what to do with their bodies, if they are not prepared to be held responsible, they need to keep their unsolicited advice to themselves. Period. Okay, let's get on to the Elon Musk drama. It's not drama, it's legal stuff. There's a little bit of legalese in it. Here we go. Elon Musk tweeted out the other day, any account doxing real-time location info of anyone will be suspended as it is a physical safety violation. This includes posting links to sites with real-time location info. Posting locations someone traveled to on a slightly delayed basis isn't a safety problem, so it is okay. And explains what happened. Last night, car carrying Lil X in LA. Lil X is not a rapper. I think that's his kid. Was followed by a crazy stalker thinking it was me, who later blocked car from moving and climbed onto hood. Legal action is being taken against Sweeney, an organization who supported harm to my family. And then he posts the car. And then people are faulting Elon for suggesting that this is somehow an unjustifiable. That he suspended the account of this Elon jet that was tracking his jet in real time using apparently publicly available data to publicly locate and identify the geolocation of Elon's jet, which resulted in a group of people swarming him at an airport. And then the question became, is he a free speech champion or is he a hypocrite? Does he have rules for others and then he makes special exceptions for himself when it happens? Does online speech actually have real life risks and harm? So yeah, it's Elon's son. So, Blue Smoke 2022. Feds disguise as internet service to swap out your router with theirs. Now that you mention it, I didn't ask for the visit. That's a joke. I didn't ask for it at this time. That's for damn sure. So people calling Elon a hypocrite for a number of reasons. You know, denying that online speech can cause real life problem. He said prosecute Fauci, and then he goes and shuts down an account for showing the real time location of his plane. And then you have people saying it's public information. It has to be tolerated. Awful but lawful. Although, you know, it's a little nuanced when it comes to doxing and posting what, you know, you can go to the yellow pages or the white pages, not the yellow pages. Does everybody know what the white pages are? Back in the day, there was a book and it had everyone's address, postal code, telephone number, and name in the city. And you could just go and look at it and pick out somebody's name. Hey, what's that person's number? Well, if I know their name or I know where they live, I can find it. The fact that you could go to the white pages and find someone's home address, telephone number, and whatever does not mean that you can then post it to Twitter through an account with 1 million followers, A, with legal impunity, and B, with terms of service impunity. That would be, whether or not it's, people get confused on what doxing means as well as far as terms of service goes. Doxing is not just making public illegally obtained information, that's hacking. Doxing is not just making public private information that might have been lawfully obtained that discloses someone's identity. Doxing can just be publicly identifying certain people or providing identifying information online. And I think, you know, disclosing the location of someone in real time without their consent, I would say that qualifies as doxing, especially when it's done with a specific purpose. Someone going onto Twitter to say this is where this person is to be found right now. It's not that. I would not say that is a legitimate or that's a pretextual exploitation of the use of free speech, arguably for other purposes. Some people say, well, what about politicians? If you say that they're here and they're there, well, politicians who are public officials, in their capacity as such, that's what they do. It's like saying if someone's a police officer working at a station, you say the police officer's there now, here's the address of the police station. They're a public function, public officer of sorts. In the exercise of their functions, I would say that that's not the same thing. A politician not in their public office on vacation, having their address doxed, that would be doxing, even if they are a public official who would otherwise, you know, be able to be identified when they are going to be somewhere for political purposes. So that happened. And people started flipping out. And I won't say it's nuanced. I think the rule, setting aside all the other stuff, you know, there's a lot of restrictions on free speech, of speech that is not unlawful in any event. Terms of service prohibiting spamming. It's not illegal to spam, but we make, and Elon will make, terms of service use rules that make a platform usable, that make it something where everyone wants to be. Just, you know, like imagine the world in which, you know, people say, okay, well, hey, you can publicly just put someone's telephone number, address out there. If it's public, go put it on blast on Twitter. No one would use that platform. Nobody wants it. At the end of the day, there is lawful speech, which is still restricted under community guidelines, terms of service, spamming being one, because people want a platform that is usable and that is not one where they're going to feel actually threatened, harassed, or doxxed. And so the idea of having doxing as a clear violation of community guidelines, real-time identification of someone's location when they're not a public official without their consent. Someone asked a good question. Oh, I'm at the local fair and Elon is standing right in front of me. Oh my goodness, here's a picture. You're getting close. You're getting close to public disclosure of someone's current geolocation, which can put them at great risk and peril. So again, at the end of the day, it's not whether or not you agree with each and every rule. It's just a question of whether or not the rules are clear and evenly applied. That's the bottom line. But they're out to get Elon. They're out to get Elon, and there's no question about it. They're so out to get Elon, they will make up fake stories, obviously, because it'll make them look bad. Let me find the tweet. Oh, here we go. Laura J. Nelson. Listen to this. How do we want to smear Elon Musk? He's not allowed to prosecute Fauci because that's incitement to violence, but we can say prosecute Trump for 6 years all day long. We believe in open borders and there's no illegal immigrants. There's no undocumented immigrants. But we want to go dig up Elon Musk's visa application to see if he allegedly lied so we can deport him. No one's going to accuse the left, this progressive mental derangement, of consistency. Laura J. Nelson, in an article that she wrote. No, she did not write the article. I'm sorry. Someone else wrote the article. She's a journalist. Reporter at LA Times, Green Thumb, Kansas. DMs open, ask for... Okay, whatever. Laura Nelson tweets this. A Bloomberg article. So, about that $5.7 billion in Tesla stock that Elon Musk gave to charity last year, it went to his own charity. Bloomberg reports. Well, that makes Elon Musk look like a big asshole. That makes Elon Musk look like a fraudster who said, I'm giving $5.7 billion to charity. Give me the charitable tax deduction. And then he gave it to his own charity, which I'm a reasonably astute reader. I said, holy shit, that actually sounds kind of bad, Elon. What did you do? You wouldn't have done that, Elon, would you? No, he wouldn't, nor did he. For anybody who's going to take the extra clicks to go read the actual referenced article from Bloomberg, is this it? Do I have to go archive this? I do. Damn it. Hold on. It's already been archived. I posted the archive link. I just pulled the wrong one. I say, oh, Elon wouldn't have done that. Elon's not a fraudster bastard, and that I know of. Maybe he is. Maybe he is nonetheless, but he still didn't do it here. You got to go one click beyond the tweet. You get a fake tweet that makes you think you hate somebody. In order to find the truth, you got to go click the article, read through the article because they typically bury the lead. And then maybe if you're able to even think clearly enough to understand things, maybe you'll get to the truth nonetheless. Bloomberg. Musk's $5.6 billion mystery gift. Oh, it's a mystery gift. Went to his own charity. Oh my goodness. The headline says the same thing. I don't need to read anymore, do I? She's right. Whoever that person was. Musk's foundation had $9.4 billion in assets at the end of 2021. The 3-director organization donated to St. Jude's Express. Oh, so we're getting a little bit of a nuance on the headline. It had $9.4 billion. The Musk Foundation, which is a charitable foundation, gathers assets so it can then, what's that? Donate them to other charities? Oh, interesting. The $5.6 billion of Tesla Inc. shares that Elon Musk donated to an unnamed organization at the end of 2021 went to his own charitable arm, making it one of the largest foundations in the U.S. The Musk Foundation held $9.4 billion in assets at the end of 2021, according to a tax filing. It sent about $160 million to nonprofits last year. By far the most of the world's richest person has donated. By far the most the world's richest person has donated from his organization in a calendar year. That means he's donated more in previous years. Not more. He's as well donated in prior years. The billionaire's largest gift during the period was $55 million to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. That's pretty nice. Followed by $54 million to the X Prize Foundation, which he partnered with in 2021 to create a prize for carbon removal projects. Oh, that seems pretty good too. Remember those people who want to save the environment but also want to boycott Tesla? Who want to save the environment and love immigrants, but they want to deport Elon Musk and complain that he's donating $54 million to the X Prize Foundation. Other donations listed. Yeah, okay, fine. So you know what the bottom list is? Musk, if you want, has personal fortune of 167 billion. Okay. You know what? You know what their problem was? They think he should just give $5 billion to their charities so they can go piss it away with their own corruption and administrative costs, fundraising costs. Instead, Elon does what any normal person would do. Get the tax benefit for the donation, put it in a foundation where you can make sure it then goes out to a number of different charities responsibly, to good charities who are not going to piss it away on administrative fees and salaries. You know how much the CEO of the Red Cross gets paid? I don't know if anybody's ever looked at this. Do you know how much the CEO of the Red Cross gets paid? Let me pull up. Sorry, I've got an itch in my eye. This is my favorite tweet ever, by the way. The people who spent years screaming prosecute Trump now say it's violence for Elon Musk to tweet prosecute Fauci. The people who say they want clean energy now want to boycott Tesla. The people who chant open borders now want to deport a U.S. citizen. Democrat standards. CEO Red Cross salary. Elon, why don't you just donate? You should have, you selfish bastard. You should have gifted those stocks to the Red Cross. You jerk. You gave it to your own foundation, you selfish bastard, so that you can then pick various charities, including green charities and children's hospitals. You should have given it to the Red Cross. Listen to this. This is for the Red Cross. It's from I don't know where this is. Executive compensation at the American Red Cross. You should have given your $5 billion to the American Red Cross, Elon. Expenses totaled $2.8 billion. Hold on, what year are we in? In 2021, American Red Cross raised $3.1 billion, with most revenue coming from the sale of biomedical services, gifts, etc. Although contributions and gifts only comprised 33% of total revenue, it is important to remember the revenue stream of biomedical services is dependent upon donations. Fine. Expenses totaled $2.8 billion, with the largest expense reported to be co-pension salaries, pension benefits, and payroll taxes. They have a lot of salary. They have a lot of employees, so don't jump to any conclusions yet. 18,000 employees received at least $1.3 billion, or an average compensation of $76,000. The 15 most highly compensated employees were reported to be, listen to this. CEO, the chief operating officer, $781,000. President, $751,000. Chief transformation officer, $723,000. President and CEO, $640,000. Chief financial officer, $630,000. Donor senior vice president, $535,000. General counsel, nearly $500,000. Chief HR officer, nearly $500,000. Chief development officer, $468,000. Training services, $451,000. Biomedical sales and marketing, $444,000. Chief medical officer, $410,000. Chief intelligence, I don't know what that is, CIO. You get the picture. That is about, that's 1.5 million. You can do the math. That's a lot. And by the way, I'm not an anti-capitalist. This is not a question of saying people are not entitled to as much salary as they can possibly negotiate for and on their own behalfs. I am just a believer in the fundamental principle that if you want to drive a Porsche, you don't go become a school teacher. And if you want to become a school teacher because it's going to bring you lasting fulfillment in life, don't expect to drive a Porsche. You want to run a charity, you shouldn't get rich running a charity. You should get rich so you can donate to charities. Chief Information Officer, thank you, Mike TV Dub. You want to get rich, you should not expect to get rich working for a charity. You want to work for a charity, you should not expect to get rich working for that charity. That's a lot, by the way. That's a lot. So fault Elon Musk all you want if you want to be hypocrites for not donating $5 billion to the American Red Cross so their executives can pay themselves nearly $1 million a year. Fault him for that. I suspect, I say that. Let's go do it and see if I'm an idiot in real time. Was it St. Jude's Hospital? Oh boy, let's see here. St. Jude's Hospital. CEO salary. Jude 1 point. Oh boy. Let's see. Oh, an error occurred. Okay. Let's see this. Executive compensation at St. Jude, Paddock test. When people think of St. Jude's, they often think of the organization with Children's Hospital. St. Jude is actually two organizations. St. Jude's Children's Research, St. Jude. American Lebanese Serious. Oh, I didn't know this. Mamacita. Compensation from St. Jude. Ex officio director, 1.5 million. How'd that go? Did that go as planned, Viva? No. Let me make sure that this is actually. Oh, that's interesting. Elon Musk, Bloomberg, charity. Here we go. Auto News. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Let's see. Okay. Hospital CEO salary. We're getting to Jude. It looks like the same thing. Hold on. Let's do this here. Well, it doesn't look good. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital executive compensation is $226,000. The average. James Downing. I think his is a little more than that, though. Well, doesn't look good. The average is $250,000, which means there's going to be some that are a lot more. James Downing, CEO. $1.3 million a year. Well, that's a lot of money. All right. Well, now we know, and knowing is half the battle. All the large charities are scams. Check out cancer charity. Only 15% goes to research. Real truth. I find that shocking. There goes my theory as to why he would have done it. Nonetheless, well, going to have to reassess the rationale. But the bottom line of the article, nonetheless, he did not gift himself the money to his own charity. It's going to his own foundation, and he's picking who he chooses. And maybe he thinks St. Jude's is worth it, and 1.3 million to their chief executive officer is worth it. Okay, Rachel Motley, we have covered this. I think we're almost done on the stories for the day. I don't know why I keep having to close a window to bring up the new story. Let's see here. It looks like, what is this? What is this that I have bringing up here? Taxing the unvaccinated. We covered that as well. Car accidents. Show me the average age of the people in those car accidents cited in that study, and I will be. Oh, okay. So here's a fun one. It's just the world's gone mad. Virtue signaling will be the death of the West. It will be the death of science. It will be the death of knowledge. I run into this guy, Dr. Brian Goldman, Night Shift MD. The world seems a lot less kind these days. I see irritation, impatience, and anger everywhere. I know it's not just me. I can feel it like the entire planet's frontal lobes have been taken offline. Did I get it here? Oh, yes. Maybe I was too angry. These idiot virtue signaling hypocrites think we are stupid and don't have two fingers to Google their own history. The world is less kind these days, and you are the reason. Hypocrite trash. The world seems a lot less kind these days. Let's go see Dr. Brian Goldman. Trump paid more taxes to India than the U.S. What do you think of that, Trump supporters? You're being played for fools. This is the best thing I've read on Twitter in ages. There was something remarkable about Carl Reiner being 98 years old and living to needle Donald Trump relentlessly. I hoped he would live long enough to see Trump out the door. May his memory be a blessing to his family, because he was, sorry, what was the, I have a Carl Reiner story. The world's a lot less kind. And I love the fact that Carl Reiner, was just endlessly mocking the president. Trump's shirt collar is covering up his accessory muscle. I think that's a dick joke. He's a dick. That's the old joke. The turtlenecks hide the foreskin. The best thing I've read on Twitter in ages. Oh, that we've already gotten that one. It was the one under it. There was a fourth one in there. Yeah, whatever. And then he blocked me. Because nobody likes having their hypocrisy rubbed in their faces. When they're trying to be virtuous better than other people, and then it comes out that they're not just as bad, but worse because they are just as bad, but try to pretend that they're better. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes the pest on the internet who goes and digs up their history. It's so easy. You don't even need to have followed them to know what would be some words that I would have to Google or look up in prior tweets, which might show a certain degree of rampant hypocrisy of these individuals. And it's very easy to find, especially if they're prolific tweeters. Okay, we talked about another, Matt Gertz. The people who, when it comes to doxing Elon Musk, now they're all for it. When it comes to misgendering someone online, hate speech. Speech on this website can lead to real-world violence was literally the argument for banning Trump post-January 6th. Trying to make Elon Musk look as much of a hypocrite as Vijay Gad. Oh, I think we've gotten to everything. Hold on. Present. Let me see if I have any more links in the backdrop that I should be looking at. Tech CEO. What is this one? Oh, Nate the Brody is in the news. I almost forgot the most important one. Nate Brody, currently being represented by Ron Coleman of Dillon Law Group, the Dillon Law Firm. This is so good. Hey now. Nate Brody, for those of you who don't know, is suing Christopher Boozy, the alleged founder, creator of Bot Sentinel, that website that would rate people's Twitter accounts based on good to disruptive to decide whether or not they got deplatformed, and worked with, I don't know, he had a Rolling Stones article cover him because he's like, the savior of Amber Heard and Meghan Markle. Well, he, for those of you who don't know, went out of his way, found time in his busy schedule to defame Nate Brody. And when I say defame, like, I don't use the word lightly. When he went out of his way to actively defame Nate Brody by suggesting that by spreading the rumors that Nate Brody was not a real lawyer, that he was not actually a cop, and that when he finally admitted he was a cop, that he planted evidence on people that he arrested and admitted to it in a live stream where he played a 30-second video clip out of context to actively and maliciously promote the lie that Nate Brody admitted to planting evidence on people that he busted. He's suing Bot Sentinel dude, Christopher Boozy, and it made MSM, it made Daily Mail.uk for some reason. Exclusive tech CEO who slammed Twitter and trolls in Meghan and Harry's Netflix finale is being sued for calling New York lawyer the son of two crackheads, as his company is labeled digital attack dog. Christopher Boozy, 47, appeared in the New York. I must have missed him in the documentary, but I really wasn't watching it very thoroughly when I watched it. He came out and said, that troll accounts are coming out to harass and insult Meghan Markle, I presume because she's black or half black, and that was like the operating theory of the documentary, that everyone hates Meghan Markle because of racism, when I actually didn't even know that. I think I've known Meghan Markle from that show with the briefcases. I never had any idea of her race or ethnicity, and it never played a role in any part of my assessment of anything in the world. I think I only knew about it when she got engaged to Harry, and then the media made it into this big issue, which it might very well have been for the family, but I don't think many other people care about people's race these days except for the media. Anyhow, Technology CEO who lashed out at Twitter in the Duke and Duchess of Sussex new documentary is being sued by a lawyer over claims he tweeted false and defamatory statements. Christopher Boozy appeared in the Netflix documentary after his company Bot Sentinel issued a report saying the couple was on the receiving end of millions of trolls. Oh, they got mean tweets on Twitter? Mean tweets that were not actually identifying their public locations or disclosing private information or threatening actual harm or organizing actual campaigns of harassment. Okay, so we know what Bot Sentinel is. Then you got Christopher Boozy, yada, yada, yada. Here. But Boozy, who previously tweeted that he thought the princess and prince were aging in bananas, I don't know what that means, has been accused of being a troll himself over a series of nasty posts. DailyMail.com reveal that an ex-New York police officer turned lawyer, he's also a turned YouTuber, filed a lawsuit. He says he's son of two crackheads and other false statements. Nate does have a very, very amazing history for those of you who missed the first interview ever that I did with Nate. I'll share it in locals afterwards. Nate sued. Boozy also publicly identified Brody by his real name, which the attorney was trying to keep private, the complaint alleges. In several tweets, he claimed that Brody was not a real lawyer or a police officer before later admitting that the claim was false. He also admitted he knew the claim was false when he made it. Then Nate gives an interview. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Twitter is a dirty place. We always scream at each other, which is fine, but you can't just start openly lying to hurt people's reputations or sick a crowd on them. But Boozy was saying Nate admitted to framing people, go after him. Nate did not. There are a few people who, whether I agree or disagree with some of his politics, his judgment and ethics, I do not question. Hold on, dog barking. Oi. All right, and it's not much more interesting than that. Although they took a picture of Nate, Joe Neerman, Ian Runkle of the Bailey, and I don't know who the guy with the hat is, although I know I should. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was at Alita's wedding. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's, yeah. And that's it. So Nate's actually suing him. Everybody, if you want to follow Ron Coleman, because he does interviews on his channel, he did one with me. He actually had Count Dankula on. Ron Coleman, not the bodybuilder, Ron Coleman, lawyer. Here it is, 9.2 thousand subscribers.
Something we'll be talking about.
So, talking to you now, talking a little bit before the show, it seems like this is a case that really means a lot to you, right? What is your favorite thing about being a lawyer?
There you go. He was on Michael Malice. You're welcome. Go check him out. He's a good guy. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. So now I think we've officially covered all the stories of the day, unless I'm mistaken. Nate Brody. Someone in the chat said it's a bogus lawsuit it's going to lose, or he said it's a bad lawsuit. I think it's, as far as it goes, I mean, you got to prove damages, but I think it's going to be quite easy to prove the defamation. If it's not defamation per se, the defamation, and even if you have to argue actual malice, because Nate's a public figure, admitting you knew it was a lie when you said it, but tweeted it nonetheless, you make the job very easy. So I'm not convinced it's a frivolous lawsuit. In fact, I'm actually relatively not comfortable. I'd say it's a pretty damn strong lawsuit on the allegations. He's not a lawyer. Couldn't really calling someone who's a lawyer not a lawyer and suggesting that they're not a lawyer and causing people to think that he's not a lawyer and a liar, although most lawyers are liars, but not damages reputation. And it's very tough to come back from that because there's people online on Twitter who probably still think Nate is not a real lawyer, or who think Nate actually admitted to planting evidence on people that he busted. Black people, and they played the race card. Christopher Boozy said, Nate's framing his own community. Can't get much more damaging than that. Okay, no. Then we got one last one. Justin Trudeau. CTV News. Canada is not broken. Canada's not broken. Let's see what Justin Trudeau, the man who broke Canada, has to say. Canada's not broken. Trudeau goes hard at Poilievre in speech. Let's do we have a video? Do we want to puke? Mr. Poilievre might choose to undermine our democracy by amplifying conspiracy theories. He might decide to run away from journalists when they ask him tough questions. Can you believe the amount of projection? Can you believe the amount of projection in this? He might undermine democracy by, like beating the shit out of protesters and freezing their bank accounts in the absence of a court order. He might choose to run away from journalists when they ask him tough questions, like the way Justin Trudeau fled Ottawa during the protests to avoid discussing anything with the protesters. That's how he brands himself. Oh, yeah, that's his choice. But when he says that Canada is broken, that's where we draw the line, he said, clapping to applause. And I made a funny, Canada's not broken, but the clavicle of the 81-year-old Indigenous woman that you stompled on with your police certainly is. Oh, we should not have ended on that. We should not have ended on Justin Trudeau being Justin Trudeau, but we have to. Canada sure looks broken, says Real Truth. He destroyed it, says Maple Syrup. 1, 2, 3. Undermine democracy. I mean, can you believe it? They see it in everybody else because it's who they are. Undermining democracy and what was the other one? Running from questions. Holy shit. Does he not remember pretending to have COVID during the first week? Oh, sorry. I don't know if he was pretending. Having COVID again during the first week of the protest, then fleeing to British Columbia during the second part. White pill. Flamingo lady wants a white pill. The white pill, Monday, I'm not going to be able to get her name, but the artist in Norway who is now standing up to the system and saying, enough is enough. A woman is a woman. A man is a man. Do what you want. Be who you are. But do not tell me that as an actual lesbian woman, I've got to call you, a biological man, a lesbian. Do not erase me and do not tell me what to say. And she is standing up to it now. And maybe, I don't know how the procedure works in Norway, if they're going to contest the constitutionality of the law. Void for vagueness, void for undemocratic compulsion of speech. That the white pill is people are starting to speak up. And once upon a time, Tim Pool used to say it. If women don't stand up for themselves in the leagues, in the sports, and say, no, we don't think it's fair to have to compete against biological males. I don't care that they've been taking estrogen or testosterone blockers for 3 years. They hit puberty. Tim Pool saying, until they do it, it's not up to us to do it. Tim Pool says that he doesn't have kids. He doesn't have daughters. I've got daughters. At some point, it's up to me as well. I'm not doing it for me. I'll be doing it for them. But they're starting to do it now, and more vocally, more proudly, and with less fear and with less reluctance. That's the white pill. Every avalanche starts with a snowflake. Every tsunami starts with I don't know that tsunami starts with a drop of water. And you know what? I'm not even sure that every avalanche starts with a snowflake. Every avalanche might start with like an earthquake. You know what I mean, people? Courage is contagious, as much as cowardice is contagious. So you're going to have to pick one. Second Amendment or die. $5 Rumble Rant says, Viva, do you have a plugin that automatically collects the Rumble rants without you having to screenshot them? One of Arcada's viewers created it. Rackets can send it to you. I will take it if it's easy to use. I do not have one, and I would love one. And I've been, in as much as you guys, everybody has their request for what they'd like with Rumble, I would like to be able to live stream on Rumble. I can live stream by bypassing StreamYard. That's easy. I would love to be able to bring up and highlight comments so that it overlays on the screen. I think people would love that, and it would be great. So, Second Amendment or die. I'm gonna go message Nick and see if I can get that, because if it needs to be easy to use. I have a very, very short attention span. Okay, other white pill. Get out there and exercise. I say I'm giving the white pills, but I'm having trouble swallowing them these days. The world is going batshit crazy, and it's tough to see it getting better, but it will get better. It has to get better because a species that are prone to panic. We're prone to collective thought, collective reaction, collective madness. At some point, though, it's going to get too absurd to even ignore anymore. And I think we're quite quickly getting there. Did the dog pew on Viva today? Real fringe. No, he didn't. Listen. I'm not even taking a chance anymore. I just want to chat to work in the Rumble amp for Android. I'll ask Chris about that. Viva the world is bad, says DVR down market. Got to fix it. There's no alternative. Like the heron that wastes its afternoon perfectly still, just waiting to get one frog so it can eat and survive another day. We too have no choices. We too have no choice but to continue the righteous pursuit of sanity, but in a way that makes our parents, our children, and our pets proud, because you can do no wrong when you do it that way. When you stare into the abyss stares back. So do not become the monster that you are battling while battling that monster. You don't win anything. You don't win the battle if you've sacrificed your integrity. So with that said, people, what time is it? It's 1:10. I'm going to go for a jog, exercise. And I think you should all do the same. Get out there, get some exercise, get some sunlight. And see you tomorrow, Monday. It's going to be a good one. Sunday, we got our stream. Lots of stuff coming, people. DVR Downmark says, yes, we have to find our equilibrium. Who's doing it, Viva? Mark LG. Chat is critical for the phone app. Let me screen grab that. Okay. What else? Become the bigger monster? Nope. You can't do it. Become the bigger monster. What's the point? All right, go. Oh, hold on. I got to play you out with a video. Hold on. Let's see here. What are we going to do today? I had a good GoPro one. Viva Fry GoPro. There was another good GoPro one. This is not a disguised unpaid ad, people. GoPro has never sponsored me, but they don't need to sponsor anybody. Let me see what is a good short GoPro video. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is a 6-minute video. It's a little long, but it's going to be good. It's funny. There's a GoPro ad before my video. 1,600 horsepower speedboat. Right after I got the Hero Black. This was in San Diego, I think. It's fun. It's another family vlog, so I guess that'll also be something of the white pill. Here. Hold on. I got to share my screen. Window. Here. And skip. Okay, battery's full. Getting ready to go on the...
Kind of nervous.
Everybody?
It's an America boat.
Enjoy. Oh, yeah. I don't remember this.
We'll be back, maybe. Children, let's get ready to roll. America style. America. Gate 2. You guys excited? You know what the great thing is? If you have to pee, you can just let it go on the boat. Nobody's going to notice.
Have a good afternoon, everyone.
So really, the only reason why we're doing this is because we're testing out the GoPro 7. We got the new GoPro. We got to see how the stabilization works. You'll like it. Thank you. Thank you.
Stable. Will it be stable on a boat that is going 100 miles an hour and flipping over 3 times in the water?
We need to get on the front of the boat. Go straight to the front. Straight to the front. There is no part that is more or less safe on this boat. Okay, we're not taking the picture unless it's free. Safety Nancy over here wants to know if she can have a life jacket to wear on the boat.
There's life jackets underneath this.
Is this do we pay for that afterwards?
You have the option of purchasing it.
Okay.
We just take the photos for everyone.
Okay, do you want to take the picture?
You guys stop
All right, guys, let's take the picture anyhow. Get in here. Okay.
We can't take the picture with the ring, sir.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, there's a row 3. Go get the row 3 in the front. Go. Poncho. Oh, keep it for the rain just in case. Go right there. Oh.
Yeah, you're brave.
You know what? I just got it.
Seems like a good idea.
Everyone needs to remain seated at all times.
Seated at all
with those
times.
Seatbelts fastened. There's no getting up out of that seat for any reason during the trip today.
You're nervous?
However, if you have some kind of emergency and you need our assistance, we have a safety sign. and that is to pack the top of your head. Just so everyone is aware, we will be getting wet today. All right, everyone is going to get a taste of that San Diego Bay.
Who knows how fast this thing goes? It's gonna go fast. It's gonna go fast.
The high-speed vessel, the flagship Patriot.
Oh, but they're gonna tell us now. This video is gonna be amazing. What do you say? Oh yeah. See how easy it turns? That's why you can do it. Oh boy! Let's get it started. Let's get it Oh my God! That is amazing! Now that's worth it, right? No matter what, everybody hands go up, and they stay there. That was very cool. That music was too loud.
Everyone remain seated, if you would, please.
Excuse me, the aircraft carrier is the Midway. Okay, so that aircraft carrier is the USS Midway. That's beautiful. All right, children, this was a cultural tour, as you may not have guessed. Not for the price, unfortunately. Would you do it again? All right, guys, that was awesome.
Daddy, the turns, they were like crazy.
Where's Mom? Marion? Oh, there they are. Well.
Mommy, we saw a seal. It was sitting on those buoy thingies.
Okay, we're going to the pool. We're going to the pool. Okay, people, let's just get around to high fives. High five. Booyah for show.
Not now. Mommy, the toy.
I want to go get it. A
Mommy,
really good coffee over there.
No, the turns, we nearly hit the boat.
No. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Coffee time.
Everybody hands go up, and they stay there.